The NBA regular season is done, and the Bucks season has wrapped up today. They played the Cavs, and we'll get into how that went later. But it's playoff time, baby. Playoffs are here. So excited. The Bucks secured the Central Division for the fourth time in 4 years and 11th overall, and they hold the most Central Division titles out of anyone in the division. So they, after LeBron left and went to go play in LA, the Bucks took over, and it's been them the entire time. Playoffs are coming up. Playing is on Tuesday when this uploads. So I'm gonna be trying to make as many videos as I can. Obviously, we'll see how it turns out. And I got stuff to do, and I got work and whatever. So hopefully, I can do as much as I possibly can, because playoffs are gonna be on for a while, and I'm very, very excited. It feels so weird to have the playoffs start at like a normal time since they went into July last year. So I'm really, really excited. But anyways, the Bucks finished the regular season at 51 wins, 31 losses, and they secured the 3 seed. And we'll get into why that's important later, but I cannot be more excited. They're matched up against the 6-seeded Chicago Bulls, and I'm not excited for the reason that you're probably thinking. The reason why I'm so excited is because the I-94 rivalry is back in swing. Milwaukee versus Chicago. This will be the 5th time that they matched up in the playoffs. I think it was 74, 85, 90, 2015, and this year. So this will be the 5th time. And actually, in that 2015 matchup, it's funny. It's because that was the first year when I was a fan that they had made the playoffs. I had just started watching Bucks basketball like the year before. Giannis got drafted. They got new ownership. Jason Kidd was a new coach, and they had really made this push to have like this new era of Bucks basketball. And I was like a freshman in high school, so I bought into it. And now it's a championship later, and it all started with that first playoff appearance for the Bucks against the Bulls, where the Bulls were the 3 seed and the Bucks were the 6 seed at the time. So it's just reversed this year, which is really cool. And I remember it was such a fun series, even though they were getting thwomped. They were down 3-0, had like a game winner by Jared Bayless, and then they won a close game in game 5, and then game 6 they lost by like 60 points, felt like 1,000 points, and Giannis checked Dunleavy into the stands. And what a year, what a series that was. So that kind of brings me to another point about the Bucks and the Bulls this year. Grayson Allen is going to be unlocked, like prime Duke Grayson Allen is going to be unlocked, even though he wasn't like amazing at Duke or anything, even though he did win a national championship. But something like that always has to happen between these two teams, where they have something that's going to put them at each other's throats. So Grayson wanting to like kind of get at the Bulls fans, and then Bulls fans and Bulls players are going to be at Grayson. Is this going to be a lot of fun? So I'm really excited for that. But the thing that I am really concerned with about the Bucks here is they're going to have to beat the Bulls another 4 times to advance to the second round. I was trying to think about it, and I just cannot think of another team. At least, obviously, like I said, I've only been a fan for around 9 years or so, and not like a hardcore fan until like the past like 5 years or so. Like the year that the Bucks lost to the Raptors is when it was like my first like real year that I was like super into it. And they're gonna have to beat the Bulls 4 more times, and I don't know if another team has had to do that, at least in recent memory, because they beat the Bulls 4 times this year, and it's just going to be really difficult. Like, I know they say in football, oh, it's tough to beat a team 3 times a year or whatever, but having to beat a team 8 times in one season is going to be ridiculous. So who knows? They might be able to do it. So, and then the other thing that I'm thinking on the Bulls side of things is this is going to be LaVine's first time in the playoffs. He got traded for Butler in 2017, and then he hasn't been in the playoffs since, because the Timberwolves made it with Butler, but LaVine got injured and everything, so he had never been in the playoffs. So first time as an All-Star, or first or second time as an All-Star, and now this will be his first time in the playoffs, having to get game planned against a former, like, the defending champions. It's going to be quite the test for some of the Bulls. I know that DeMar has some experience against the Bucks in the playoffs, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult this time around with this type of roster that they have. But a concern that I have for the Bucks is the lineup issues. I'm concerned because us Bucks fans have noticed that Bud is probably one of the more stubborn NBA head coaches in the league. Probably like second to, I'd probably say Popovich and Tibbs in New York. It's really difficult having to justify why George Hill or Wes Matthews is getting anywhere from like 15 to damn near 30 minutes a game, but they're only putting up a combined, like at most, like 6 points some nights, or like sometimes they both put up goose eggs and they take like 3 shots, but they're playing 19, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, or 15 minutes. Like they're all over the place. And Jevon Carter doesn't get any. Jevon Carter was being underutilized, wasn't given a proper opportunity in Brooklyn. The Bucks pick him up and he becomes like this offensive savant. He's shooting like well over 50% from 3. He has like great decision making. His defense is amazing. Like he plays the lanes. He has great perimeter defense. He's great on the ball. And you just wonder why Bud won't play him. So those things in the first round are always an issue. Like, yeah, they have championship DNA. They can do it. They've proven it. But now they have some new guys that they're trying to fit in with Grayson, Wes, George, and Jevon and Pat. Like, I know some of them are forwards and whatnot, but it's going to be really difficult trying to get all those guys in the rotation and getting Ibaka and getting Bobby their proper minutes. With Brook coming back, he's added his like spacing and his defense and rebounding again. So that's really helpful. But you know, is Nora going to get benched because he can't make a shot to save his life, or he takes a really dumb shot, but sometimes he puts up like 20 a game? Who knows? So those are just some of the concerns that I have. But now the big question. Did the Bucks duck the Nets? I personally think yes, they did. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I think that. Let me tell you why. Because I think it just happened that way. I don't think they intentionally tried to duck them. I don't think it was like we don't want to have to play Kyrie and we don't want to have to play KD and whatever. And maybe Ben Simmons comes back for the first round and whatnot. Here's the deal. For one, it's not a foregone conclusion that the Nets are going to win against the Cavs. Who knows? The Cavs might beat them, and then they could also lose to either Charlotte or Atlanta. Like, we don't know. Like, the Nets could actually miss the playoffs. So for one, that's the thing. They're probably going to make it, but like they can still miss. It's still a possibility. And I just think the Bucks were trying to prioritize their health. You know, it was a game that's not necessarily meaningless, but you know, they're secured in the playoffs and they're fine as a 3 seed, even though they give up home court advantage in the second round, potentially against Boston, which is really scary to think about considering how good Boston has been. But we see tonight, or, you know, the day after technically, that Luka seemingly got hurt. He has like apparently a strained left calf, I think is what it is. Excuse me, a strained left calf. And he played in a game that he didn't have to play in, and everyone's like, oh, superstars and they're resting people and blah blah blah. People have been resting people for like however long now. I remember in 2015 people were saying, oh, the Spurs are resting their star players way too much or whatever. And it's like, for one, these guys are starting to get old, and it's like, why not rest them? They're trying to make a championship. That's what matters in the end, right? And so yeah, I think they ducked them, but as a byproduct more so, not with the intention of like, oh, we're scared of Brooklyn, because they're defending champs and they've played Brooklyn pretty well this year. So I think they would invite a chance to play Brooklyn if they could. So that's how I feel about that. So in the last video that I made actually was a prediction of the last 10 games of the regular season, and this is how it held up. So I predicted the Bucks to go 5-5, and they actually went 6-4. In my predictions, I went 7-3. The 7 I got right were the Wizards, Grizzlies, Sixers, Mavs, Bulls, Pistons, and Cavs. And then the Bucks actually ended up beating the Nets, and they beat the Celtics, but they lost to the Clippers. So I had Bucks beating the Wizards, I had the Grizzlies beating the Bucks, I had the Bucks beating the Sixers, I had the Bucks losing to the Nets, I had the Bucks winning against the Clippers, losing against the Mavs, winning against the Bulls, losing against the Celtics, and then winning against the Pistons, and then losing against the Cavs. So yeah, I know I had them going 5-5. I know that sounds pessimistic, but the reason why I did that was because load management again, back-to-backs, environment, the team that they were playing in, like home or away games. Those are some of the things that I factored in. They weren't going to beat the Grizzlies. I didn't think that they were going to beat the Nets. You know, Kyrie being able to come back and play home games, I thought that was going to be like the boost that helped them. The Celtics didn't. The Celtics ended up sitting Jason Tatum and Al Horford for that game, but this was before Robert Williams got hurt. You know, the Time Lord. So, and usually the Celtics just light them up from 3. It's just like it's just a given. It happens anytime the Bucks play the Celtics, and I thought the Mavs Or no, not the Mavs. I knew the Mavs were going to come in and steal one. It's late in the NBA season. Mavs always come up to Milwaukee, take one. They did it like, I think in that 14-15 season, Monte Ellis hit a game winner or whatever, which is still a little bitter about that one, but I had them losing against them, and that's exactly what happened. But I did not foresee the Clippers having a back-to-back. I didn't realize that it was a back-to-back. And in that game, everybody sat. Like everyone on the Bucks, everyone on the Clippers sat. Robert Covington had 43 points that game. So yeah, I think I did pretty well. You know, I went 7-3 on my predictions. At first I got a little shaky, you know, I was 3-0. I was like, oh shoot, I'm 3-0 in my predictions so far. And then I was 3-2, but then I was 5-2, and then I was 5-3, and then I finished out strong. So something that was like spot on. I was spot on about the Sixers, the Grizzlies, the Bulls, the Mavs. Pistons was like, I was pretty close. But the Cavs won. Let me read you what I said about the Cavs. I said, don't have much to say about the Bucks losing in Cleveland. I tilt towards them losing, but if the seeding is unfavorable or they need to win to be favorable, I can see the Bucks winning. But if the Bucks don't care, they'll sit everyone, and the starters will play the first half, then sit the rest of the game. But no one played except for Drew, played for 8 seconds, and they fouled Garland and got out, and he got his bonus, which is, hey, 225K is 225K. And then I just said, Garland has been one of my new favorite players. It's how great he's been. Cleveland is just like a really good story this year, even though they've been riddled with injury. But yeah, I made that video. That was like 2 weeks ago at this point. But if you want to check it out, I think it'll be like right, put the card like right here. Or, you know, you can just check it out on the channel. But here is my prediction for the matchup. The Bucks versus the Bulls, first round, the 3 versus the 6. I think the Bucks will win in 5 games. I think they're going to take it 4-1. The Bucks will come out. They'll win the first 2 games at home. But it won't be blowouts like they have been, or like, I know the first one was kind of close, but I think that was in Chicago. But they're not going to be blowouts because there's still a lot of Bulls fans in Milwaukee that live there. I know for the Brewers series against the Cubs, they were like limiting like people not born in Wisconsin or like non-Wisconsin residents from getting tickets or whatever. It was some nonsense. I think the Bucks will lose the first road game against the Bulls in the United Center. You know, kind of that hostile environment, super fired up and whatnot. I think they're finally going to get one this year. And then I think the Bucks are going to hold them off in game 4. They're going to go home, close it out, wire-to-wire win in game 5, and then they'll win in a 5-game series. Or they'll win in 5, rather. So let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Am I right? Are the Bucks going to sweep, or are they going to get swept? Are the Bulls actually going to show out? Or are they going to shut down? Who knows? Just saying. No one actually knows. We're just talking out our asses sometimes. Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. It's been your boy, Arnis Weekly, and I'll see you again next time. Deuces.